Grounded is a survival game developed by Obsidian. You may know them as the Pillars of Eternity and even more recently Outer Worlds guys. The difference with this one is it's just being developed by 13 people from Obsidian. So budget, and in terms of the type of game it would be, is more the AA game rather than a AAA game. But you can't really notice just looking at it aesthetically with the graphics and what they're using, and they have the resources, the backing of the full studio. It just recently entered early access game preview, they call it, for consoles, but it is on both PC and Xbox One. It's a console exclusive, but you can also get it through the Xbox One, and it even has multiplayer. It's in an early state. Only 20% of the game is currently available, and there's limitations with online multiplayer functionality that I'll get into later in the video.
Hello? Hello? All right, Pete. Remember your scout training. Step 1.
The classic
get your
where
weapons.
am I, what happened type of story, and works well with the survival mechanics in that you are drip fed what is going on. You find these mysterious stations around the map, and then you have objectives to do along with the tutorial at the same time. You have one of 4 characters. They are the same gameplay-wise, just they have different dialogue options, and aesthetically they look different. Here you also have the difficulty, which is all the way from the easiest creative, where you don't have to mess with the different meters, to difficult to the highest woe, where combat and the meters have to be refreshed or filled up much earlier. But it's a good balance between the two. It's not too difficult early on, which is good. But at the same time, when you're finding the various materials, trying to craft them, you're doing that organically. It's not telling you every little thing to do, while the objectives of do this or do that aren't too unclear, and it's left open-ended enough where you want to explore each, and maybe you could, but you have the option to focus more on the objectives if you want, or just mess around and do the crafting. Combat-wise, it reflects the environment well. It's not. You have the very weak enemies to the very strong spiders, ladybugs, and their behaviors are different. Some are more aggressive, while others are more passive, like the ladybug. And the items, too, like when you are in combat, you can use anything, and it does affect the environment. Combat-wise is more obvious, but even I was like throwing a rock, and a bead of water came off of a grass blade, that kind of thing. You can also use it with other things as well that affect the physics, which is important because you're building the different structures, and you have a limit in your equipment, and you have very large items such as grass planks to make something that you can't just throw in your backpack. It comprehensively, it's in real time with the survival mechanics. It doesn't stop. So even when you go to the wheel that they have for the console, and that you designate items in a pouch, the game itself doesn't stop. So you want to decide, is this a crafting time where I'm safe, or if you're in a building or you're high up, or do I need to get to a better place? It works usual fare. If you played other games, like, I mean, ones I did, like We Happy Few, you saw it's similar to that, and other ones as well that are more popular. Of some items you can construct right away, some items you need a workbench. The sleep cycle in this one, how it works is, this was pretty easy to build one of these structures. You don't need a lot, but you have to wait until the designated time to use it. You can't just use it any time and push things ahead. You have to wait till it's around dusk, and then it automatically takes you to the next period of time. You don't decide how many hours that you do sleep. The crafting, though, like I said, it's not just you craft things that are on you, you're also crafting buildings and larger structures that you're going to use, like the fireplace that you're seeing here. Along with storage, you can dump stuff off. So, also, demands that you have a semi-permanent location to put things, and then if you want to set off a time to be cooking, have some food kind of stashed away. The crafting, how it works for the recipes is there are stations where you analyze an item under a microscope, and you have to wait for the recharge, is how it's set right now. This tells you what you can make with this particular material. So you can't just collect a bunch of items and then just blow through the game very quick. This is something that could change, but I think it worked okay. It also gives you some raw science that you need to complete some of the objectives. Some tweaks in the options menu. I'm sure this will be expanded upon in the future. One interesting thing I noticed, though, is the arachnophobia. You can choose to turn this off. You still have the big spiders, just in how they look changes. And this is pretty funny. But I can see where it would be something that people would want. Multiplayer, how it works is you can host or join a game, just you need to be in the lobby at the character select screen waiting, then someone can join you, or you can at the same time join them. Their game would show up. But this is limited to friends only. It's saying that it will add online multiplayer with this, with randoms in the future. I played single player, but the game is tailored well to multiplayer. It has the usual stuff that you would see: emotes, executables, commands you can give, like you can wave or you can say hi. And it shows you this in the third person perspective when you do one of the button prompts. Since the whole map isn't finished, when you get to the very edges, they have construction tape on the side. I've walked over here a ways in, and there's just the endless grass sort of a thing. But you can cross it fine enough, and even some of the creatures, if they were running away from you or following you, they'll follow you into it. But you can tell there's a lot more they're going to add in the form of biomes and different creatures in the future. Now, based on my impressions and how much content is there, it's $30, and you have a fifth of the game. So it's a bit steep. However, if you're playing with someone else, then it is worth buying it for $30. And this is also worth getting it through Game Pass, even if you're playing it single player, because they will be adding more in the future just with the reputation of the studio. I haven't really encountered like anything in terms of glitches either. The premise is very unique as well. It's not like other survival games where it's in a world that you know. This is more of an alien world where you're very small in your yard because you don't have things like trees, the grass, the blades, the type of enemies, the variety. So it's definitely worth checking out single player. And then if you do have someone else to play with, though, then it's worth buying now. And again, like I said, they'll be adding more in the future. And what is there is high quality already. If you like this video, please give a like, subscribe if you really liked it, picking up on Game Pass. Check out the links below, and I will see you next time.